The following program is brought to you in living color by Trek World.
In 1998, the Sci-Fi Channel gave Star Trek something it rarely ever got on TV: reverence. Airing 5 nights a week, the Star Trek Special Edition presented the original series fully uncut and remastered, with restored color, stereo sound, and maybe most meaningfully, respect. These weren't the CGI remasters. The effects were original. The charm was still intact. William Shatner served as the host for the first run through the 80 episodes. The clip you're about to see was originally in 3 parts spread throughout the commercial breaks of this episode.
The Conscience of the King is a timeless tale of revenge and redemption, guilt and responsibility. It's filled with larger-than-life characters undergoing loss and change. It fits the classic definition of tragedy, which holds that true tragedy can only befall those of high or noble birth. The title, as well as some of the scenes, are borrowed from Hamlet and Macbeth, when the actor Anton Curidian has a phaser pointed at him by a crew member of the Enterprise. His words are from Hamlet. I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy blood. And now, the Conscience of the King. This episode marked the final appearance of Yeoman Janice Rand, played by Grace Lee Whitney, whose presence, it was felt, limited Captain Kirk's opportunities to find romance among the stars. But she returns in Star Trek, the motion picture, and other Star Trek films. It's also the second and final appearance of Lieutenant Kevin Thomas Riley, played by Bruce Hyde. Imagine living in the 17th century when Macbeth and Hamlet had their premieres. Now, imagine that those same stories could be set 500 years in the future and still enthrall audiences. Shakespeare is one of the best examples of timeless storytelling there is. There were even more Shakespearean references in the original script and in the scenes that were actually shot, but it was felt that the episode was running too long, so much of it would end up on the cutting room floor. Among the cut footage are scenes of the intergalactic equivalent of Hamlet's father, his ghost, prowling the corridors. But this time, it's on the Starship Enterprise.
Now, after the first run was completed, Leonard Nimoy then took over hosting duties for the second run. As before, the section you're about to see was broken up between 3 different commercial breaks.
In 1960, an evil chapter in history was closed. Israeli Secret Service agents captured fugitive Nazi war criminal Adolf Eichmann in Argentina. Eichmann was accused of being the chief architect of Hitler's final solution, the plan responsible for the deaths of millions of people. You'd hardly think that this is Star Trek story material, and yet, in late 1966, that's exactly what it became. It's a story of guilt, denial, and responsibility. Most of all, it's a story of the weight of conscience. Episode number 13 draws its title from William Shakespeare's Hamlet, in which Hamlet himself recites, "The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king." This episode marks the final appearance of 2 Star Trek cast members, Bruce Hyde and Grace Lee Whitney. Bruce was featured in 2 episodes as Lieutenant Kevin Riley. Grace Lee Whitney, as Yeoman Janice Rand, had been with us from the start. Unfortunately, NBC felt that having Yeoman Rand around would prevent Captain Kirk from getting involved with any other women. Fortunately, Grace had a chance to return as Janice Rand in several of the Star Trek films. At the end, Kodos announces that he was a soldier for the cause. This is nearly word for word the defense used by those accused of crimes against humanity at the end of World War II. Like so many others before him, Adolf Eichmann's defense was that he was merely following orders and that the responsibility lay elsewhere. The trials at Nuremberg determined that one must take responsibility for his own actions. In 1962, in the ultimate payment of responsibility, Adolf Eichmann was hanged for crimes against humanity.
If you have any videos, photos, or documents that you would like to donate to us, please feel free to send them to jim@trek-world.com or submit them via the web at submit.trek-world.com.
The Sci-Fi Channel added short documentaries during the breaks, interviews with cast and creatives, design insights, and stories from behind the scenes. For longtime fans, it felt like the opening of a time capsule. Throughout each episode, at least 2 different interview packages were created and placed at various commercial breaks. They called these spots insights, and they were intermixed with clips from the episode they were embedded in.
I think that the science fiction genre, and especially the way that it's been embodied in Star Trek, helps us ask questions about what is it to be human in a highly technological and scientific world.
Here you stand, the perfect symbol of our technical society. Mechanized, electronicized, and not very human. You've done away with humanity, the striving of man to achieve greatness through his own resources.
How can we be in that world in a way where we understand what's going on, and we have a relation to science and a relation to machines that puts us in that world, but in a way where we're also in control of it.
Sir, our speed is increasing. We're traveling at 1 warp 8. Mr. Smiley.
Since we've passed Mercury, the sun's pull on us has increased greatly.
There's been, at this point, so much scholarship, so much writing, so much fan conversation about the meaning or the meanings of Star Trek. They try to figure out what kind of universe is this, economically, politically, socially, in terms of sex roles, in terms of issues of race and racism. Another thing that people have done with Star Trek and why it's meaningful is that they are able to use the kinds of issues that get raised in Star Trek as a way to carry on a conversation about those issues in their own lives.
Logic is not enough. I've got to feel my way. Make absolutely sure.
And I don't think there's another American text, another American work of fiction that has been so important for people as a vehicle to carry on a conversation about what kind of world we live in and what kind of world we want to live in.
Where is she, Mary? Where is she, Mary? Where is Janice?
What's the matter with you? How should I know?
Where is she? Has something happened to her?
Don't you feel all right?
Well, it's just, there's so many stories. Bob Justman, my friend, said that it was a creative decision, that Rand and Kirk were looking close, and they wanted to give Kirk more space.
Oh, you're upset. So upset.
So they wrote the part out. I don't know if that's the whole truth. I write a little bit more in my book about what I think the reasons were. But I think I'll just leave it there for now because I want you all to buy my book. And I want you to read about what's, you know, what it was really like.
You really cared for her, didn't you?
It just about devastated me to be written out. Traumatic thing for me to get in touch with these feelings and to write in my story, to write about it and to deal with the feelings 30 years later.
Hey, Jim, Dan here. Hey, I'd like to make a suggestion for something. cover these Star Trek comics, a whole rich field. You can do everything from the 60s and 70s with Gold Key Comics to Marvel Comics 18-issue run to DC Comics doing a run that lasted from 1983 to 1996 to Marvel getting the license back to Wildstorm Studios getting the rights to IDW doing Star Trek comics. It's a whole rich era for you to mine, so to speak. Again, just a thought. Hey, great convo over Star Trek 6. Really appreciate also you having me on for the Janice Rand episode. Talk to you later.